All right, folks, good evening. Welcome back to Wilderness Wargaming. We're a couple days behind on this, but we had some leaks of some Eldari data sheets. And what we're going to do is take a look at some of these and find out what we got going on with them. So stick around and we'll take a look at the few that I was able to grab really quick. I'm not entirely sure if this is all of them. I didn't have enough time to fully research what was leaked on or what came out on the live stream or whatever it was, but these are the ones that I was able to find on the Discord from our little local game store. So we're going to hit 3 units real quick. And first up is Asurmen, the Phoenix Lord for the Dire Avengers. Longtime favorite. This guy is a very old model. I don't know if he's getting a new one, but right now he is still in pewter. But he was pretty good, even in the 8th edition codex, when the Craftworlds were really in the tank. Asurmen was actually still quite good, and it looks like he will be pretty nice, too, in this edition. 7-inch move, toughness 3, save 2 up, wounds 5, leadership 6, objective control 1. So 1 less wound, and he no longer is phase capped for damage, which is good. I was never a fan of the phase cap. I would have liked to have kept the wound, but that's a minor quibble. The Bloody Twins are his 2, what used to be shuriken catapults, and now they are basically shuriken pistols. They are assault weapons with lethal hits and pistol. Although they retain the 24-inch range, he gets 6 shots with them. Weirdly, they're not twin-linked. I would have thought they would be twin-linked, but it's okay. It's still pretty good. Ballistic skill 2 up, strength 4, AP -1, damage 2. So very good anti-infantry shooting choice. Although, like many character shooting weapons, it's a little lacking in sheer potency. You do get a good volume of shots, and you should be expecting a good conversion rate. Even though on average you're going to miss 1 shot, on average you're going to get 1 auto wound through, too. And also, with damage 2, that means that he is taking out Space Marine quality infantry with a single shot. So that's good. And then his melee weapon, the Sword of Asur, has devastating wounds on it, which is awesome. It's 6 attacks as well, weapon skill 2 up, strength 6, AP -3, damage 3. So this one is pretty formidable. Given how things are going in 10th edition with increased toughness, this is still pretty good because even with a strength of only 6 against really tough targets like dreadnoughts and stuff like that, he'll still on average get, it looks like probably about 1/6 and manage to sneak through 3 mortals almost every time he makes melee attacks. So that'll give him some residual capability against the really tough stuff and will help help cut down on the lucky saves from the rest of it. He also has the Hand of Asurmen, so every time he is leading a unit, you can add 1 to the hit roll. So he gives +1 to hit, so that should put Dire Avengers hitting on 2s, which would probably make them pretty formidable in melee as well as, at least for a non-melee unit. And Tactical Acumen, once per turn, you can use to target this unit with a Fire Overwatch stratagem for 0 CP. So you can overwatch your Dire Avengers basically every turn for no command points, which will be critical to keeping them out of melee. Now, I don't know if you want to keep him out of melee, but he can always reserve that for when he feels it's an opportune time. He also has an invulnerable save of 3 up, which he retains, and that is great because that is one of his biggest assets. He is kind of the first among equals of the Phoenix Lord, seeing as how he's the Dire Avenger guy, and I'm glad to see him keep that. And it also makes me a little hopeful for my Salamanders that Vulcan Heastan will get to keep his, too, because he's one of the rare other 3-up invuln saves that I'm aware of. Hopefully also Solitaires will, too, for the Harlequins. I don't own a Solitaire and don't plan to, because I only use them as part of an Inari army where you're not allowed to use Solitaires for some reason. But I'm hopeful for our Harlequin players out there. He can only be attached to Dire Avengers. You can't attach him to other kinds of aspect words. That's not unexpected at all, and really not inappropriate. But I do appreciate that they're also going to be enforcing some thematic aspects too. Okay. Next up, we have the Striking Scorpions along with Karandras, their Phoenix Lord. Okay, so the Striking Scorpions are movement 7, toughness 3, save 3 up, wounds 1 for the regular squad members, 2 for the Exarch, leadership 6, objective control 1. For range, we'll have the Shuriken Pistol, which is 1 attack, ballistic skill 3 up, strength 4, AP minus 1, damage 1. Has also assault, so you can shoot it after advancing. Very good for striking Scorpions, because traditionally one of their problems is, even though they're Eldari, they've been a little bit slow and had a trouble getting into melee. At least that's how I found when I've used them. Compared to Howling Banshees, which tend to have a fairly strong threat range. So being able to advance and then still at least shoot, even if they can't charge, will help to increase their utility a little bit. The Scorpion's Claw that the Exarch can be equipped with is the same thing, except it gets 2 shots rather than 1. The melee weapons, we still got the Biting Blade with sustained hits 1, attacks 5, weapon skill 3 up, strength 5, AP minus 1, damage 2. And that has been the preferred Exarch weapon during most of 9th edition since we got the new book. Now, the reason for that was that the Scorpion powers weren't ideal for using the Scorpion's Claw. It was the one that boosted your strength way up, and so the automatic wounding one wasn't really great on it. You better off to use that on the Biting Blade and get the more attacks in. But I don't know that they're going to even have Exarch powers in this new edition, and I'm going to guess probably not. So I think that they'll be on a more even footing. The regular Scorpion Chainsword is also sustained hit 1, and is similar to the Biting Blade, but it's 1 less attack, 1 less strength, 1 less AP, and 1 less damage. So 1 less in every category, except for weapon skill, where it remains the same. Scorpion's Claw is basically a power fist again. 4 attacks rather than 5. Weapon skills 4 up, so it's a little harder to hit with that. Strength is 8, which is good, because simple doubling his strength would only give you 6 for a traditional Eldar strength of 3. And AP is minus 2, damage 2. And it also has sustained hits 1 like the other one, which that's really nice to see. That will help counteract that weapon skill a little bit and make that a worthwhile choice. I have an older set of Striking Scorpions. They're the pewter ones. I don't have any of the plastic ones, or resin, whichever they are now. And as a result, my Exarch has a Shuriken Pistol and a Scorpion's Claw on it, which is weird looking, because that's not really how it's supposed to be equipped. It's from a much older codex, I think about 4th edition or so, when I briefly made an attempt to get back into the game. So I may have to consider another squad, especially when we're no longer doing the Exarch powers. It's no longer such a hard choice to take extra squads and have to either give up the benefit of the power or take a power that's inferior for more points, which you had to do with sometimes Aspect Warriors. Moving on to Karandras, we have movement of 7, toughness 3, save 2 up, wounds 5, leadership 6, objective control 1. So the same stat line as Asurmen. He has Ara's Bane. That's his version of the Scorpion's Claw, which is, of course, better. 12-inch range, 2 attacks, like the Claw. Ballistic skill is 2 up, fitting. Strength goes up to 5. AP is also minus 1, like the regular Claw. And damage is 2, which is good. Phoenix Lord should absolutely be sniping Space Marines on 1 shot. I almost would like it to be damage 3, again, so it could take out Custodies in 1 shot, but and I don't want to say that that's any kind of miss on Games Workshop's part. That could just be me looking at that, because I also play Custodies, and if I'm playing Custodies, maybe I don't want that to happen. Okay. Keep in mind, for my armies, my daughter, Becky, who's 12, she usually is the one that plays the Craftworlds against me, so maybe I should be careful what I wish for. Melee weapons, Ara's Bane and melee. So what he does is, way back in 2nd edition, he had the 2 weapons, and I believe back then he just had a regular old chainsword, and the only thing that really did was parry, which was a rule in close combat with the very different combat system they used. Now he's got basically the 2 relic weapons, the Ara's Bane Scorpion's Claw and Asurmen, the chainsword that he has. And what these do is, rather than having a strike and sweep profile, he uses one of the weapons for his strike and one for his sweep. So he gets 5 attacks with his claw, and he's on a 2-up with that, so he doesn't even take the -1 that the Exarch would. And that pleases me. He's strength 8 also. AP goes up to -3. Damage remains at 2. Again, maybe damage 3 would be a little better for that on melee since that's his strike profile, but maybe not. And it retains sustained hits, so it's got a pretty high chance of converting an extra hit every time. Asurmen, sorry, also a sustained hits 1, goes up to 8 attacks, weapon skill 2 up, strength 6, AP -1, damage 1. Now, looking over at the right side, he also, when he's leading a unit, which presumably, because we don't see the back of his data card, I only have the front for him, will be striking Scorpions. He's going to put them on +1 hit. So that'll be great because you're going to get even more claw hits from your Exarch that's hitting at the normal 3, and you're going to get your additional hits from the whole rest of the squad. I'm kind of hoping that this kind of thing will eliminate one of the things with Craftworlds was that for a lot of the aspect warriors, not all of them, but a lot of them, the Exarch was really the one you cared about. He was the one that did 80% of the work. The rest of the squad was really just there as Amulet of Wounds. And a lot of times you'd have most of the squad be wiped, and then you have the Exarch sticking around doing damage by themselves for quite a while longer. And it was a little like, why are we even bothering with the rest of the squad? Why can't we just have a bunch of Exarchs? Which obviously you can't do that, but I'm hoping that giving the squad some boosts will help them out a little bit. Also, one thing that I missed on the Scorpion sheet, but it's also on his melee weapons. Oh wait, excuse me. I'm sorry. Something that's slightly different from one to the other. Now, the Scorpions retain their 5-up invul. He has the 4-up invul, not the 3-up that Asurmen has. But this is very interesting. Mandiblasters. What these do is give the regular Scorpions devastating wounds ability when targeting units without the monster or vehicle keywords. Okay, so that's going to be mostly against infantry and maybe bikes. They're going to get devastating wounds. Now with Karandras, he gets it against anything that does not have the Titanic keyword. So he can do devastating wounds and auto wound against anything not Titanic. Now, weirdly, it doesn't say without monster or vehicle. So it seems to me that if there was something that was Titanic, but was not a monster or vehicle somehow, the Scorpions could, in theory, use devastating wounds against it, and Karandras couldn't, which is weird. But now that I think about it, I don't think that there is any such thing in the game that does that. So just an interesting bit of trivia there in theory, but it did strike me a little bit. And finally, number 3 is going to be the Avatar of Khaine. So the big guy here is movement 10, 12 toughness, save 2 up, 14 wounds, 6 leadership, objective control 5, and he has a 4-up invulnerable save. He is a monster character. He is an epic hero, so you can only have one of him, and he counts as a demon, weirdly. So, well, that's not that weird. It's always been like that. So any anti-demon stuff that, say, the Grey Knights have, that's going to get him. Okay. His ranged weapons, he has the Wailing Doom. Sustained hits D3. So if you roll a critical hit, he gets D3 additional hits. 12-inch range. This thing has always suffered from a very short range. Only 1 attack as well. Ballistic skills 2 up. Strength is 16 AP -4 damage D6 +2. So this is a very glorified melt-a-gun with sustained hits. And he has the Wailing Doom for melee. He has a strike and a sweep. So that'll be 6 for the strike, 12 for the sweep on attacks. Weapon skill, of course, is 2 up with both. Strength is 14 for the strike and 7 for the sweep. I'm a little surprised that his strike in melee is weaker than his strength for his shooting attack, but okay. And AP -4 damage, D6 +2 for the strike, so it remains the same as the shooting, basically a melt-a-gun attack. And the sweep is AP -2 and damage 2. And that is very important there because you are getting that that 2 damage, that marine kill on every attack on the sweep. So you're going to expect to get at least 10 hits with the sweep. You're going to have got strength 7 against a toughness 4. You're going to wound on 3s, so you're going to probably hit, let's say, 7 of them. AP -2, they're going to save one third of those, so we'll be generous and say 3 since we rounded up to 7 on the other one. So you probably expect to kill 4 Marines in a turn with this guy in melee using the sweep attack. He also has Molten Form. He halves the damage of incoming attacks, which is fantastic. We haven't seen a whole lot of damage reduction yet in this edition, and it is great to see it on the Avatar. Hopefully the Inkarn will have it as well, but I feel like these are the right kind of models to put it on. He has the Bloody Handed. When a friendly Eldari unit is within 6 inches of this model, add +1 to advance and charge rolls made for the unit. That's a very valuable asset, something that will be extremely useful. And he brackets down, takes -1 on hits when he is down to 5 wounds. So this guy should be a very tough centerpiece for your army. I really need to get one of the new ones. I don't have the newer model. I still have the old pewter model, which I actually think looks pretty good. The biggest problem I always had was that his pewter hair that came streaming off the top of his helmet would never stay on. No matter how many times you glued it, the weight of that pewter hanging off was just a big problem. And so he's permanently without that. But other than that, he's one of my better painted models. I've always liked him. But it is time to retire the pewter in favor of the appropriately sized and much more impressive new model. Because frankly, this guy absolutely puts to shame the old Avatar from older editions. I just love the 9th and 10th edition Avatars. They're a thing. And I'm going to probably be playing more Craftworlds in this edition because they're looking pretty good to me. Anyhow, that's all we have. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and comment down below. And click the notifications bell for more great content from Wilderness Wargaming, and we will see you back here again very soon. Bye-bye.